Here's a big challenge for you today. Let all expectations go and just enjoy, just feel good. Hi, I'm Jan. This is 316 Yoga. This is your yoga from home. This is where you do your yoga your way, enjoy the poses, let it feel good, but don't let your body hurt. Do what's right for your body. Everybody's body is different and everybody's days are different, right? Some days you got aches and pains here, whatever. Honor that, respect your body, and just do what feels good for you. You don't want to hurt. Take something to a lesser percentage, take a little break, have your water, and don't do a pose, or just think about it. Maybe try just a little bit. Just put forth a little bit of effort. Like I said, everybody's body is different and every day is different in our practices. Today's practice, we do lots of things here. Today's practice is all down on your mat. So, maybe that's a comfort to you. Other days, we do other things to include bar and Pilates, and we just shake it up. And every day is live. From start to finish, 1 hour long. Stick around as long as you can. But it's live, no cuts, I promise, it's just real. All right, so here's what we're gonna work on today. We're gonna work a lot on the hips, because you think about your big hips. I mean, think of that ball and socket in the hips and the mobility. It's your most stable joint. We're gonna work on that, making it more stable, more flexible, and that's what we're doing. We wanna be more mobile as well. That's what the introduction said, flexibility and mobility practice. All right, so the word to think about as your practice today is zeal. I like the word zeal. Zeal means with enthusiastic diligence. So enthusiastic diligence means to stick with things. Stick with the things that matter, that improve you and help you be better in your life, on your mat and off of your mat. There you go, zeal. It means being happily consistent, and being thankful for what you got. Okay, that's the word. Let's get on with it. Zeal, have it, remember it, focus on it. Stress number, what is it now? What I like to do here is take a stress number, asking you on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 10, where are you? What's going on? Remember that number, and let's come into a child's pose to begin. All right, you got your props, a couple yoga blocks, a towel, your eye shade, maybe a strap if you want, and some water. So we're gonna come into a child's pose to begin. We're just gonna let the outside world go. Have your knees together, heels touching. Bring your head down to your block, arms down by your sides, palms face up, fingers reaching to the bottom of your mat. So as you do this, think of the shoulders away from the ears. Take a deep breath in through your nose and a big sighing breath out through your mouth. And there are options to this pose. You could take a wide-legged child's pose. I'll do that in a little while after a few other poses, but I just want to do this one today because it's just a little different. It's not what I usually rest in. So shake it up. Try different things. You don't know what you might discover. If you wish to take that wide-legged child's pose, you would spread your knees wide, keeping your big toes together, and then reaching the arms forward to the top of your mat, palms face down. You can push into your palms. You can push into your forearms if you're in that extended pose. Just feeling the depth of the pose there. All right, so in your child's pose, in either variation, you want to imagine lengthening through your spine. I'm going to adjust this block. I'm going to scoot it up a little bit. I'm going to soften my shoulders a little bit more. And I'm just going to imagine my spine as long, my tailbone going to the back of the room, and the crown of my head going to the front of my room. Deep breaths in through the nose, and a couple big sighing breaths out through the mouth. You don't have to use the block. You could remove the block and bring your head all the way down to the mat. Or, you could go kind of in between and have one of the smaller, shorter blocks. Deep breath in, imagine your breath coming out the backs of your lungs. And a deep breath out. With the exhales, think of your belly button going back to your spine. As you just surrender to the mat, letting your body relax as you breathe. When you're ready, if you're ready, you can close your lips and breathe in and out of your nose only. That's called your Ujjayi pranayama breath. If that feels good for you, just kind of get lost in the sound of your breath in the back of your throat. your child's pose. Come back to it anytime you want in this practice. Or just stay here longer. Maybe it feels really good to just rest here. I'm going to slowly come out of this child's pose and move on to our next pose. If you want to come out and join me, go right ahead. I'm going to sit in a Sukhasana pose. So I'm going to make my way down to my bottom. And you can find a block for this if you like. So take it in layers. Do what works for you. You can crisscross your legs. Just crisscross them and be comfortable. You could slip a block or two under your knees if that feels good. And remember, your blocks have lots of height, so do what's comfortable for you. Sukhasana. What I'm going to do is bend one leg generously and bring the other leg up on top. I'm going to have the sole of the top leg's foot going up to the sky. And nestle in. And you could slip that block underneath your knee. Find the height that works for you. Work on building your little personal yoga tool chest. Just have your props. It makes a world of difference. So I'm going to put my hands on my knees. I'm going to close my eyes, take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. And if it's too intense on the hips, if it's just too much, sit any way that's comfortable for you. Just find peace in this moment. I'm going to work on the neck a little bit, and the hips, they're getting worked on too. I've got my right leg on top, so I'm feeling it in my right hip flexor. But just try to get your mind out of your hips and just let the body relax and rest to where it feels right. So I'm going to do just some neck circles. You can close your eyes here. And if you got vertigo or you just don't like your eyes closed, you don't have to do that. Maybe you just have them half closed. Your eyes just fluttering a little bit. You can kind of peek out of your eyes a little bit. Just float your neck around on your shoulders. Let it feel good. And just enjoy some gentle, slow movements. As you're ready, bring your head to stillness back at the midline of your body and turn your head from left to right. Maybe hang out on one side. Bring it slowly back to the middle and hang out on the other side. And just feel the muscles that are engaged when you move your neck. Turning left to right, right to left. Bringing your head back to stillness at the midline of your body. All right, so I'm going to talk you through this next pose. We've done it before. Lift your left arm up to the sky. Bend your left elbow and place that hand gently on top of your right ear. And then encourage your left ear to the shoulder. So your hand is kind of your leverage here. Your shoulders are over your hips. You're feeling a nice big stretch on the right side of your neck. You're in control here. That hand, you can, use it a little more strongly or ease up a little bit. Just work on that neck mobility, that neck flexibility. Breathe in, breathe out. Soften in that right shoulder. And then slowly remove the hand from the ear and slowly let your head float back up to the midline. And do the other side. Lift the right arm, bend that elbow, take the right hand on top of the left ear, and encourage the right ear to the right shoulder. And then feel the depth of the stretch on the left side of your neck. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. When you're ready, slowly remove the hand from the ear. Let it float back down to your leg as your head floats on back up to the midline of your body. Tuck your chin to your chest. Let your gaze go up toward the sky as your chin lifts. A few tucks, just like you're doing a cat-cow pose. And then send your chin up to the sky. breathe. Bring your head back to the midline of your body. Place your hands to prayer center. Press your thumbs into your chest. Just take a moment here, a moment of gratitude. Whew, feel that hip. You weren't thinking about it when we were doing the neck twists. So just let it feel good a little bit more. Let it do its own thing as you come up with your little mantra for today, your little saying that you're going to tell yourself over and over today that's a positive statement about you. I am strong. I am healthy. I am a yogi. I am flexible. I got it going on. Something positive. All right, you got that in your mind. Let's switch our legs. Okay, however you have your legs, go ahead and change them out. I'm gonna take my right leg, bring it on the bottom, and my left leg on top. So I'm gonna switch them out. Now, you know the fullest expression of this pose, which I've told you I can't do, just my hip doesn't work that way. You could bring the bottom foot also up and place that foot on top of the other knee. Use your blocks however you like, whatever's comfortable for you. Maybe hands to prayer center, come back to your mantra. Let's do a little bit with the shoulders. Tee out your arms. Maybe press the backs of your hands to the back wall. Lift through your chest and give yourself a big hug. Let the arms come forward and let them crisscross, bringing one arm on top, the other on the bottom. Work your hands towards your spine. Now you got a nice tight grip here with your shoulders up near your ears. Release the shoulders away from your ears. Then think of driving your shoulders to the sides of your room. Nice tight hug. Big breath, strong breath. Feel the strength. As you're ready, open up your arms again. Let them float on back to that T position. Pressing the backs of your hands to the back of the room. Big breath. Just let it feel good. There's no rush, no hurry in today's practice. Let it feel good. Crisscross your arms in front of your body. Again, bringing the opposite arm on top here. Work your hands towards your spine. Soften in your shoulders. Expand through your shoulders. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Expand your shoulders to the side of your room. Nice and strong, yes you are. Arms tee out, go back, back, back to the back of the room. Nice work, nice hug. Let's bring the arms forward. Arms forward like you're serving a tray, palms face up. Take one hand and bend all four fingers of the other hand back, back, back toward your elbow. Hold it here. This is our little tennis stretch. We sometimes do this from that tabletop position, but what you want to feel here is a nice stretch up that forearm. So pull those four fingers back. Maybe your eyes stay closed as your shoulders stay soft. Bend your thumb back as well. That one's not comfortable for me. I think I have text thumb. I think a lot of us do. You get that pain in your thumb from all that silly texting. All right, now I'm going to bend the pinky finger back all by itself, taking it as far as feels good. Then the ring finger. And then each individual finger. To include the thumb one more time. Pulling it back and letting it feel good. All right, you've stretched one hand out. Go ahead and wiggle it. Wiggle the fingers. Take the other hand. Bend those four fingers back. Breathe through it here. It's really nice when you just focus on the good feeling in the yoga. That's how far you should take it. It doesn't matter how the pose looks. What matters is how it feels for you. So maybe a 10% effort in each pose is what feels good for you today. I'm going to bend the thumb back, or maybe you go even farther. The stopping point is where it doesn't feel good anymore. And you never want to experience pain. If something starts to feel painful, slowly back out of it. All right, I'm going to start bending each individual finger back. How far can it go? How far does it feel right? And don't forget to stretch the thumb back too. Oh, I'm gonna do all 4 fingers one more time. Feel that good stretch all up the forearm. Now I'm gonna wiggle the fingers. Ooh, let that go. Circle the ankles, the ankles of your hands. Circle your wrists around. Interlace your fingers, give them a good tight squeeze, turn them on their sides and do the infinity symbol. Back and forth. Nice. All right, interlaced fingers, sweep your arms around to your back. Press your thumbs with interlaced hands, press your thumbs into your low back. Open up your chest, look forward, send your shoulders back and down. Breathe in. Breathe out, let the shoulders soften. Open up through your collarbones. You should feel a nice stretch in your collarbones and through your upper arms. Breathe. And then let's finish. All right, how was that? How do the shoulders feel? Give them a wiggle. Let's come out of this Sukhasana pose or whatever pose you're in, and let's go do our toes pose and our ankle flow. All right, so come out of this nice and slowly. Come to a standing on your knees position. Tuck your toes towards your shins. I'm going to use my 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. You don't need them necessarily. You can bring your hands down to your mat. All right, toes are tucked towards the shins, feeling the nice stretch in the feet. Shoulders are over the hips if that works. If it is uncomfortable or painful, maybe you hinge forward a little bit and take some of the pressure off the feet. Big breath in and big breath out, shoulders soften. Hold it here, stay right here. Options are to bring your block underneath your bottom. Maybe that feels a little better. Just stretch out the feet. And let's complement this pose by the counter pose called ankle pose. Place the tops of your feet on your mat and sit on back onto your feet. Knees, keep them together, but let them pop on up. Use your blocks to bring the ground up to you as your knees are lifted as well. Or use your hands. And you take it back as far as the stretch feels good in the feet. I think sometimes we get on autopilot and we don't know when something hurts or we don't pay attention to what we're feeling in the body. Try to do that today. Try to see what you're feeling in your ankles right now and see how far you want to take it. And I'm going to come back to the toes pose. So just flow this a little bit your way. You know, if you want to hang out in your toes pose a little bit longer, if that's speaking to you, stay here. Or, you know, go a little faster if that's what's speaking to you today. Toes pose and ankle pose. I think this is a great complementary pose. It's so nice to move that full complement, that full range of motion. And it's so important to strengthen your foundation. You know, I talk about that a lot because your foundation is where it all starts, right? So think about the good balance here. And just balance in life in general. You want to be stable first, stability first, then your balance, and then it leads to tranquility. It feels good. All right, I'm going to finish up. I'm going to come to a neutral tabletop. I'm going to lift my feet up, squeeze and scrunch the toes, circle the ankles this way and that, tap the tops of the feet out on the mat, and come into a pentacle pose. All right, so what you want to do for pentacle is come down to your bottom. We're not going to stay here very long. Come down to pentacle. Spread your legs, heels to the edges of your mat, maybe hands to prayer center. Tell yourself your mantra. Take your time coming down to recline. You have a strong core. Come all the way down. Once you're down, lift your arms up overhead and bring your body to the shape of a capital letter X. Let your pinky toes fall to the edges of the mat. Take a deep breath in. Belly rises up to the sky. And a deep breath out. out. Let everything reset, recalibrate, and just come back to the midline. If this doesn't feel good in your shoulders, put a little bend in your shoulders, in your elbows. Bend in your elbows. Or work your arms down a little bit like a snow angel. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, next pose. Let's take like a cobbler pose in our feet. So bend your knees. Bring the soles of your feet together to touch, and then open your knees wide to the sides of your room. Work your arms down a little bit so your elbows are at about shoulder height, and then bend your forearms so they're like, your arms are like goalposts or a cactus. Kind of a reclined goddess pose, if you will. Breathe here, stay here, let it feel good. Your chest is open. Shoulders are back and down away from the ears. You feel like your chest is lifted up to the sky. Open up in those hips. Breathe in. Breathe out. Stay here longer if you like. Remember, it's your practice, so you do what speaks to your body. I'm going to go into a banana asana pose next. Silly name, but it's the best way to describe it. Think of the shape of a banana. I'm going to draw my knees together at the midline of my body. I'm going to send my legs long onto my mat. I'm going to bring my arms up like a snow angel overhead. And I'm going to come into that stick pose, palms touching, fingers reaching to the top of the room. I'm going to point my toes too. So you look like a giant number one. Now let your feet relax a little bit and work your heels, both of the feet together, to the bottom right corner of your mat. Maybe you can take it even farther. You're going to feel a nice good stretch in your hip here. Let's add in the arms. Take your arms and move the arms to the top right corner of your mat. All right, so if someone were to look down on you, you look like you're in the shape of a banana. The big thing here is to keep your hips both down on your mat. And the hard part here, I'm curving to the right. The hard part here is keeping my left shoulder down. But keep the hip and shoulder down to really maximize this pose. You've got a big stretch from your left pinky toe all the way up that left side of your body through the intercostal muscles between your ribs, all the way up through your fingertips. So such a deep, deep stretch. You can take it a little bit deeper too. The left leg, lift it and cross over the ankle. The right hand, grab it and pull the left wrist a little bit more. For me, that really intensifies this pose. If you like it, enjoy it. If you don't like it, back out of it. Remember to breathe deeply and just feel how the sensations in this stretch change as you inhale and then as you exhale. Nice deep stretch. Now let's bring our hands back to palms touching. Let's release the left ankle and uncross the legs. Move your feet and your arms back to that stick pose. Take a big inhale, stretch it out here. Just enjoy it for a moment. Bring everything back to the midline. And then let's work everything to the left now. Both heels to the left corner of your mat. These long arms stretching and reaching far to the left side of the room. And remember that shoulder, keep it down. Breathe. Keep the hip down, keep the shoulder down. If you like, lift the right leg, cross the ankle. If you like, take the left hand, pull the right wrist, and just breathe. All right, your teeth. If your teeth are touching, unclench your jaws a little bit. Soften the area between your eyebrows and let your eyes rest heavily in your eye sockets. Don't hold tension. Just enjoy the stretch. All right, let's work our hands back to the midline. Uncross your ankles, stretch it out in your stick pose. One more time, point your toes, reach, reach, reach. And then release your arms down by your sides. A supine twist. This is a great pose. You can take it in layers as well. Left leg is long on your mat, toes drawn toward your shins, so your left calf stays down. Bend your right knee and hug the right knee in toward your chest. If the knee seems really far away, you could grab your strap or your towel and hook it under your knee to pull your knee in even more. I'm going to interlace my fingers underneath my knee. I'm going to circle my ankle to the right and left. I'm going to hug the knee in some more. Just taking some time here to find the fullest extent of this stretch for me. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Hollow out your belly, pull your knee in a little bit more. You might be surprised how far you can take it. Now I'm going to take the left hand, because it's holding the right knee, and cross the midline of the body, rolling onto the left hip. That shoulder, the right shoulder, like we did in Banana Asana, keep it down. Tee out your right arm and look to the right. So getting back into the neck, keeping the shoulder down, enjoying this intense twist and internal rotation of that hip. Breathe. Soften shoulders. Soften your face, your gaze. Slowly work the hip, right hip back down to the ground. Hug the right knee in again. Hug it in good and tight. Release the right leg down nice and slowly. Calf plugs in. Right toes toward the shin. Feel that right leg really super long on the mat. Drag your left leg up. Interlace fingers or towel or strap. Hug the left knee in. Take a moment here. Maybe hug it even more. Breathe in, find length in your spine. Breathe out, find the depth of the pose. When you're ready, as you're ready, circle the ankle this way and that. And then take the right hand, hold onto that left knee, roll onto your right hip. Take it slowly and just enjoy how good it feels on your hip. Hopefully it feels good on your hip. If it doesn't feel good on your hip, maybe place a towel underneath your hip. Right hand is going to encourage the left knee down. Left arm is going to tee out, encouraging the left shoulder to stay planted on the mat. And I'm going to turn my head to look to my extended arm. And you need to let go of all the, oh, it should look like this, or, oh, I can't do that. Let that go. It doesn't serve you. Be happy with what you've got. Have that zeal for your yoga, that diligent persistence. All right, let's slowly bring the hip back down to the mat. Hug the left knee in one more time. Circle the ankle if that feels good. Send the left leg down to meet the right. Spread your legs wide. Come back to your pentacle pose. Arms lift overhead. Breathe in. Breathe out. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. As you're ready, come on up to a seated position. Once you're seated, take your wide-legged forward fold. Legs spread wide, walk your hands forward. Breathe in, breathe out. Maybe you like to push a block forward. Maybe that just kind of feels good to bring the ground up to you with that block. I'm going to walk forward and let my forearms come down to the earth. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold the chest closer to the earth. Slowly walk the hands back to the midline of your body, and let's do a wide-legged child's pose. So spread your knees wide. Big toes touch. You may want to change your orientation on your mat by turning 90 degrees to keep the mat underneath your knees. Big toes touching, hips back to the heels. Press into your mat, press into your arms so your heels can maybe touch your bottom. Walk your hands forward. Let your chest come down to either your block. Maybe you want to graduate to a smaller block, or maybe you want to take it all the way down to the ground. Breathe in, breathe out. Perhaps you find, just observe, don't judge. Perhaps you find that now that you have done a lot of the hip mobility exercises, that spreading your knees a little wider is a little bit easier. All right, when you're ready, we'll come out of this. Press into your hands, walk them on back, but keep your knees spread wide. Maybe not so wide, maybe you bring them in a little bit, and then hinge forward here, bringing your weight over your shoulders. Now you want to have your shoulders over your wrists for stability. Fingers spread wide, and if it feels a little uncomfortable in the wrists, ball your hands into fists. Another option would be to press more weight into your thumb and your pointer finger. How does this feel on your knees? Maybe a towel underneath might feel good. So just hinge forward here and hold it here. And Dwayne, would you set a 1-minute timer, please? So, usually we do a plank pose. Here we're going to do just kind of this frog push-up. So what we're going to do, knees spread wide. We're going to stay here for about a minute. But go ahead and bend your elbows a little bit. Keep your elbows hugged in. And we'll just do this for a little bit longer. So bend the elbows a little bit, maybe bringing your chest a little closer to the earth. No rush, no hurry, just be in control here. Hugging the elbows in is really important because you feel concise and stable. Oh no, the timer started and we've been doing this for a while. Okay, so the timer's up there. You can do it as long as you like. You know what feels good. Don't do anything more than what feels all right. Maybe this is a bit of a challenge because looks like we're going to do about 2 minutes here. All right, we're doing fine, right? So push into your strong arms. Push into your strong hands. Shoulders are strong. You've got this. Embrace the shake if it's happening. Maybe lower a little bit toward the earth and press on back up and hold it. Hold it. Be strong. We've got about 10 seconds left here. Hips are enjoying the mobility as well, right? But your focus is on the strength in your arms. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are done. All right, send your hips back. Oh my goodness, hips back to your heels. Arms reach long and strong. Stretch out those hips. Breathe in, breathe out. That was the longest minute, right? All right, let's come out of this pose. How are you doing? Oh my goodness. All right, working the hips while focusing on the upper body too. Kind of taking our little bit of a frog plank or frog push-ups. It was awesome. All right, cat-cow pose. Let's do this, and we'll do it with the leg extension to get into the hips. Neutral tabletop, shoulders over wrists, knees under hips. When you're ready, cat-cow pose. Chin tucks to the chest, tailbone tucks under. Push the tops of your feet into your mat, push your hands into the mat. Inhale, cow pose, crown of the head and tailbone lift. Continue. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. I think this is one of the best poses you can do for your spinal mobility, for your low back, for your neck, moving your spine. We're moving it forward and back and forth. Now let's move it side to side. To do that, come to your neutral tabletop. Extend your right leg long. Press into the ball of the right foot. Think of that right leg is super duper long. Feel like you're in a runner's lunge here. Lift the right leg up. Cross the right leg over the midline of the body. Plant the ball of the right foot on the left side of the body. Turn your neck so you look to the left side of your mat, or maybe you look all the way back to your foot, your knee, or your bottom. So here's your lateral flexion of your spine, your sideways curving of your spine. Use the neck, bend and look back toward your bottom. That right leg, lift it up, sweep it around to its natural position, bring it maybe to about hip height, plant the foot, and twist, sending your right arm up to the sky. Look up to your right arm, twist, hold, finish. Hand comes down, knee comes back to meet the knee on the mat. Press into your mat in your neutral tabletop. Take a cycle of cat-cow for fun. Come to a neutral tabletop. Gaze is down between your thumbs. Left leg extends. Ball of the foot is going to super duper press into the mat. Strong length in that left leg. Lift the left leg up. Cross the midline of the body. Plant the ball of the left foot on the right side. Look to the right side of your mat. Look back towards your foot. Look to your knee. Look to your bottom. Hold it here. Little steps are the best way to get where you want to be. Sweep the left leg around, bring it to about hip height, plant the sole of the foot, lift your left arm up to the sky, twist and look up. Look up to that hand, twist your neck a little bit more. You're pushing strong into your foundational foot and your foundational hand here. You're not going anywhere, you're staying strong, you're stable. Float the arm down. Bring the knee back to meet the other knee. Take your cycle of cat-cow here. Breathe. And just let the peace begin where your expectation ends. Don't sweat it. It's just yoga. Let it feel good. All right, we're gonna do dead bug. Good pose for your core. Come to seated on your bottom. Hands to prayer center. Remember what you told yourself that's positive. Think nothing but positive thoughts. Lengthen up and then come on back all the way down. Dead bug pose is a hard one. It's as hard as you want to make it. Now here's what we're going to do in dead bug today. Lots of variations of the pose. Shoulders are away from your ears and arms down by your sides. Lift your legs up. That is hard enough. Knees over your hips. Knees over your hips. Bring your shins parallel to the earth. Draw your toes towards your shins. You'll really feel your tailbone plugged into the mat here. Stay right here and hold. If you'd like, take your hands. Press your hands into your thighs. And I'm not talking just, they're here, just pressing it up. Push your hands into your thighs. Then push your thighs back into your hands. Oh yeah, there's the core. Feel your core. Feel the strength. Stay strong here. Push harder into your thighs. Push the thighs harder back into the hands. Embrace the shake. How hard can you take it? How hard do you want to take it? Stay strong. Strengthen your core. You got it. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Only you know how hard you're going. Breathe. And then let's finish. Let your feet float down to the mat. Arms float down by your sides. Take a bridge pose to stretch out your hip flexors. Push into your feet. Lift your hips up good and high. Remember the interlaced fingers we took earlier when we were seated in our Sukhasana pose? We took our hands, we interlaced our fingers behind our back, we pushed our thumbs into our low back. Here, you're not gonna do that. Here, you're gonna push your pinkies into the mat. Lift your hips a little higher, hold it, stay strong, stretch out the front of your hips. Release your hands down by your sides. Roll your spine down, one vertebra at a time. Send your legs long. Come up to a seated position. Either use your hands or no hands. Your core is strong. Make it work for you. Come on up. We'll take that fire log pose. This is a big one. All right, bend your knee. Bring one shin parallel to the front of your mat, then lift up the other leg and bring that shin parallel to the mat. So similar to your Sukhasana pose, but different. All right, so your shins are stacked like fire logs. Hands down on your knees. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Soften in the shoulders. This is a big one for your hips. If you have a block, you might want to bring it in front of you. You're going to lengthen up through the crown of your head and maybe place your hands on your block. Lengthen up through the crown of your head, maybe scooch the block forward a little bit. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, move the block a little bit. So play this game with yourself a little bit longer. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, push the block out. Inhale, lengthen, give yourself that break. Exhale, push the block out a little or a lot or not at all. Maybe you've pushed it out to a point where you say, I'm not going any farther. That's fine. Maybe you scooch it back a little bit. That's fine too. Just see how this feels. Explore how far you want to go to let the hips feel good. All right, now I say this a lot too. Distinguish between pain and discomfort. This pose is not comfortable, but it is also not painful for me. You listen to your body and distinguish. If it's painful, come out of it. You don't ever want to be in pain. If it's just uncomfortable, breathe through it. If it's uncomfortable, you're on the threshold of change. Breathe in, breathe out, and don't neglect those full breaths. Inhale, feel how it feels when you take the extent of that big inhale. Exhale, see how it feels when you take the extent of that exhale. Hang out wherever feels good. And remember, your blocks have several heights, so maybe adjust the height so it feels good for you. I'm going to slowly walk the block back toward my chest, bringing my shoulders over my hips. Oh my goodness, how does your hip feel there? Let's switch the legs. Bring the other leg on the bottom and the other leg on top. Align those two shins like they're logs of a fire. Block in front of you, lengthen up. You can stay right here if you want. You can put your hands on your knees and say, this is as intense as I want to go. Honor your body. Do what feels good for you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Scoot the block forward a little or a lot. Inhale, you find length in your spine. Exhale, your belly button goes back to your spine, allowing you to reach farther and farther forward. Stay where it feels best for that hip. Imagine your breath going to that hip. And I think a lot of times in the hip poses, well, first of all, women especially hold tension in their hips. Hips and shoulders are where we hold tension. Women more so in the hips. I think a lot of times, for me at least, if I think of sending my breath to that hip, if I think of just letting go and getting my mind out of the way, because in my mind I seize up and I think, oh, it can't go any farther. Get your mind out of the way. As long as the body isn't hurting, let it go farther. And that's one of the really cool things about our restorative practice that we do on Sundays and Thursdays. Because in a restorative practice, you hold the poses for a longer period of time, several minutes. And as you hold it for several minutes, you don't take it intensely. You just kind of let the body naturally float into the fullest expression that it wants to take of a pose. And you start to let your mind get out of the pose and let the body do its own thing. Kind of a neat practice. Check us out. One more big cycle of breath here. And then slowly walk the block back toward your legs, lengthen up through the crown of your head. You got it. We'll come out of our fire log now and take that pentacle pose. Enjoy the journey of getting here. Remember pentacles where you look like the big letter X? Take it slowly and let it feel wonderful for you. Legs spread wide, hands to prayer center. Make your way down however feels good for you. Arms overhead or snow angel. Oh, just breathe. Maybe sigh it out. Breathe in, breathe out. Stay in your pentacle as long as you like. I'm going to do a reclined pigeon here, back to those hips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my knees. I'll talk you through so you can keep your eyes closed and just find peace. I'm going to bend both knees, soles of the feet on the mat. I'm going to lift my right leg up. Then I'm going to cross my right leg over my left, bringing the outside of the right ankle onto the left thigh. So you're in a figure 4 in the legs. You can kind of imagine that, right? I'm going to take my hands, press my inner right thigh open. I'm going to lift my left foot up off of the mat, bringing my left knee closer to my chest. I'm going to imagine the outside of the right knee, the knee that's on top being bent. I'm going to imagine it pushing further, closer to the bottom of the mat. I'm going to take my hands, or you could use your towel, capture behind your left hamstring, down near the knee. Interlace your fingers or use the towel. Rebend that left knee. Soften the shoulders. Hug the left knee in towards your chest while driving the outside of the right knee toward the bottom of your mat. Hold it. Stay strong. Big stretch. Make it bigger if you want. Take your hands, your interlaced fingers now, and place them beneath the front of your knee, high on your shin. Hold it here. Draw the right toes, the leg on top, draw those toes back toward your shin. So you feel like your foot is flat on the left side of your room. When you're ready, nice tight hold of everything here. Let the right foot go about 4 inches to the left. Slide the foot and feel the deep stretch here in your glutes. Time to release. Let the left foot down. Let the right foot down. Bend your left knee now and bring the outside of the left ankle onto the right thigh. Push the inner left thigh open and stay right here. Outside of the left knee is driven more toward the bottom of your mat while the right foot lifts up. Draw the knee toward your chest. Hands interlace behind your right leg, low on the hamstring, right behind the knee. Hug it in, shoulders down, stay strong. Soften your jaws, soften the expression in your face. Interlaced fingers underneath the knee, high on the shin. Left toes draw toward your left shin. Hug the right knee in some more. Stay right here. If you like, this flat left foot, the one on top, send it 4 inches, 6 inches to the right. Nice tight hug, nice tight squeeze. Let it feel good in those big muscles in your glutes. And when you're ready, release the left leg down, release the right leg down. Take a brief bridge pose. Arms down by your sides, push into your feet. Lift your hips up good and high. Breathe in. Breathe out. Roll your spine down, one vertebra at a time. Walk your feet to the edges of your mats. Left foot to the left edge, right foot to the right edge. You'll feel the edge. Let both knees fall to the right. Then let them come up and both knees fall to the left. Go back and forth a couple of times in your little reclined deer pose. Let the knees work toward the earth to whatever feels good. Maybe your arms are teed out. And maybe you look in the opposite direction of which your knees are falling. Just let those knees feel awesome. Breathe. All right, knees back, up to the sky. Work your feet closer together. Extend your legs long. Make your way, roll onto one side or the other. All right, I'm going to roll onto my right side. You roll onto whatever side. Bend your low arm. Use your head to support your, bicep to support your head. Just like when we come out of our Shavasana. Bend your knees. We're going to do reverse clamshells. Clamshells, remember that? You keep the ankles glued together and you work your knees apart. Reverse. Keep the knees glued together and lift your ankles apart. So the top leg, work it up and down. Your knees are bent, maybe a little more of a 90-degree angle, lifting the ankle away from the other ankle. Feel it in your hips. Oh, they're going to cramp. All right, let it go. Breathe. It's a natural feeling for the hips to feel cramped in this position. All right, Let's switch to the other side. So I'm going to come onto my left side here. Knees bent, knees together, ankles together. Low arms bicep is a pillow for my head. Reverse clamshells. I'm going to lift the top leg, lifting that ankle. Breathe. Hips are stacked. Ankle is lifting as high as feels right. Reach a point where it feels kind of cramped. Ooh, your hips are going to love you for this one. And it's just about time for us to go into our final Shavasana pose. We'll explore these reverse clamshells again on Friday. We'll also do clamshells on Friday. All right, roll onto your back, grab your eye shade, and come into your final Shavasana pose. So legs are long, pinky toes fall toward the edges of your mat. Cover your eyes with your eye shade or your towel. Arms down by your sides, palms face up, shoulders away from your ears. Take a deep breath in. And a big sigh and breath out. Let it go. Limbs are heavy. Eyes are heavy in the eye sockets. Final Shavasana is a pose you should never run out on. Let the body just kind of reassimilate back into the world. Let everything release, and then you'll slowly come back to what you got to do for the rest of your day. If you can stay longer in your final Shavasana, go for it. Hit the pause on your remote and just enjoy the breathing here. And honor your body for all that it's done for you in this last hour. When it's time for you to resume your practice, just hit play again and join us here as we take a deep breath in and a big sighing breath out. Wiggle your fingers and your toes and your wrists and your ankles. Oh, the forearms feel good after that tennis stretch today. Inhale, arms reach high overhead, stretch it out, point the toes, reach the fingers, take a good morning stretch. And as you're ready, come back onto your side. Bend your elbows and your knees, just like we did in our clamshell. Roll onto one side. Let your head rest on your bicep of your lower arm. Knees bent comfortably. Top shoulder away from your ears. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. When you're ready, slowly float on up. Be mindful of how you do it, with or without the hands, totally up to you. Come on up to your seated position. Sit however is comfortable for you today. Maybe you find that the hips are a little more flexible. Hands to prayer center, lengthen up. Exhale, soften up, let it go. Blink your eyes open. How'd you do? Stress number, you took one in the beginning to just kind of measure where you were at then. And where are you at now? Where are you now? What is your stress number? How do you feel? And just give a moment to thinking about your hips. Do they feel more mobile? Do they feel more flexible? When you go for your walk today, do you have more pep in your step, a better stride? That's what our yoga is for. It's to make us feel better in our bodies for those other 23 hours of the day when we're off our mats. She's just kind of hypnotized right now. Have a great day, everybody. Love you very much. Have a great day off of your mat, and we will see you back on your mats tomorrow. Goodbye. Love you. You're a good girl. You're just happy, aren't you? Happy dog. Happy dog. She's just so silly. We're all done. You want to go for a walkie walk? How are your hips? You look pretty flexible and mobile. Hey, Bonnie, come here. Bonnie, come. Good girl. Come on. You're a good girl. You're a good girl, pretzel dog. Come on, good girl, Bonnie. Make way for Bonnie. Come here, baby girl. That's my girl. You're just a good girl. You want to go for a walk? Let's go for a walk. You ready? Yeah, I'll pet you first. You silly. Oh, that hurt, Piper. Don't hurt her. All right, let's go. Oh.